and welcome to our second edition of Orca Watch Live. I'm Hannah.
And I'm George.
And we're here in John O'Groats. Throughout the week, we'll be updating you on what's happening at Orca Watch 2022. Coming up tonight, we present our daily sightings summary, including a report on yesterday's orca sightings in Orkney, and we'll give you a whistle-stop tour of some of our landwatch sites. But first, the weather from Orca Watch Base at John O'Groats. Today started a bit dull, but turned into a truly lovely sunny day. The sea was a bit rough to start with, but it calmed down in the afternoon, and visibility is good. We wanted to be outside again, but sadly there's a bit of grass cutting going on, so we're inside the base. But it seems that the weather is now set fair for the rest of Orca Watch week.
Every night in Orca Watch Live, we'll summarise the sightings that we've had from the evening before, as well as the day's sightings. Our volunteers are out around the coast, collecting data and sightings, which we'll analyse later on. And there's also a keen group of watchers, many watchers out there also reporting and sending their sightings to us, which we're really grateful for. Firstly, back to yesterday evening. We left you as a group of 15 orcas had been recorded off Orkney. That was a record sighting for Orkney and indeed for Orca Watch. They were heading off, having delighted many people on Yainsby and Marwick for most of the afternoon. Emma, who we talked to that night, has checked in later to say that they were seen heading west out to sea, and they were provisionally thought to include the 12s, but that doesn't account for all 15, so we'll see what happens there. And we were lucky enough today to catch up with one of those lucky folk who saw them in Orkney, a Kirkwall resident, Graham Campbell, to tell us more about that sighting.
Yeah, well, we'd been out since the start of Orca Watch on Saturday. We'd been down at Berwick, and all I spotted on Saturday was 5 harbour porpoises, and then on Sunday we didn't see anything at all. Sunday was a rubbish day weather-wise. Monday, I was just getting ready to go off down to South Ronaldsea to Berwick again, which is a nice viewing spot. I got a message from one of my friends saying that there was something spotted at Yesnaby, which is actually on the west coast of Orkney. And en route, one of my friends phoned me and said that they'd actually moved up towards Scale Bay, which means they were travelling in a north-northwesterly direction. So I took a gamble and I shot over to Burshy, which is a slightly further up the coast, and I picked them up straight away, quite a distance out across the bay with the binoculars. I spotted them blowing, so I jumped back in the car and drove over to the main car park near towards the Orca Burshy. The Orca Burshy itself is a tidal island, which means you can only get across the causeway at low water, and luckily it was low water about 3:30 in the afternoon. So I shot across and ran up to the top of the cliffs, got up to the lighthouse, and there was already a few people walking about. It's a nice spot to spot the puffins. There's a lot of tourists over there looking at the puffins and things. So I spotted the orcas quite soon again. They were a little bit off in the middle of the bay. They seemed to be, I could see the blows, a few blows, and they seemed to be coming up in 2s and 3s. And they were feeding. It's a nice bay we do a lot of fishing. It's a nice fishing spot in the summer months. We get a lot of mackerel, cod and haddock in there. So I thought they must be feeding on fish. They were staying out in the middle of the bay quite a bit for a wee while. And then they started coming in towards us, and I thought they were going to come right into the cliffs, but they suddenly changed and we kind of lost them in the sunlight. They were coming up in 2s and 3s, so there was at least 5 or more, and then we kind of lost them in the sunlight. It was very bright at that point. We lost them for 5 or 10 minutes. The bull, the main big bull orca, we could see there was a bull and definitely 1 or 2 bulls and a few females, and there was a calf as well, a young calf. So we picked them up again. They were kind of spread out, and then they moved around the corner a little bit, and we watched them. They kind of grouped together again, and I got one photograph, kind of distant photograph, but there was at least 6 or 7 fins that were close together in a group by this point again. So there was definitely 7 or 8 in that group. But some people earlier on down at Yesnaby or Marwick had been reporting 2 pods, whether they were split, and they reckon there was up to 15 orcas, maybe possibly 2 pods. But there's definitely one pod that we saw. There was 7 or 8 that passed us, and we watched them for quite some time as they travelled off towards the island of Westray, as we call it. There was a lot of people gathering by this time. You know, some there was a few locals and a lot of visitors up on the Broch. It's a popular spot in the summertime. People were asking us if you were seeing anything interesting. We said, "Oh yeah, it's just some orcas over here." And they were obviously looking for puffins and birds, a lot of seabirds up there, but they were just amazed. This is wow, orcas here. So some of them were getting to see them for their first time, and we give them a shot of our binoculars and that, and they were just delighted they would seen orcas for the first times. And like I say, it was a tidal island, so we had to get back down off it because the tide had turned by this time, starting to come back over the causeway. So we had to get off the island. And we all gathered at the main car park. There was still a lot of folk trying to pick them up with scopes and binos, and we watched them disappear onto the horizon. And a lot of people left then, but I stayed, and we picked up, myself and a couple of other people, we picked up a couple of Risa dolphins then, just feeding in close to the Barocca bushes. So that was an added bonus as well. Pod we saw yesterday, we think they were the 12s. They're kind of identified. I think we're quite certain they were the 12s because one of the dorsal fins had the 2 notches missing and quite distinctive notches out of the fin, the dorsal fin, and it was the 12s. That's one of the Icelandic pods that come here in the summer months for a few months and then go back up to Iceland for the winter. They seem to, yeah. We photographed them last May as well, like exactly a year ago, last May.
Yep. So many thanks to Graham for taking the time to share his experience. And we're so happy for Orkney. So far this year, they've escaped the notorious harl that usually puts paid to sightings. But meanwhile, back to yesterday's sightings. Again on Orkney, 3 Risso's dolphins were also seen that afternoon, heading south past Northside, Bursay. And closer to John O'Groats, harbour porpoise were being seen in numbers from Duncansby Head, and then more were seen in Sinclair Bay near Keith's Beach. Today, it's been more about Risso's dolphins and minke whales, though just after our cut-off time, we received reports of Orca possibly heading across from Berwick. So, back to today though, earlier, before we go to the Orca, this morning the day started early at 7 a.m. at Noss Head, with Risso's dolphins sighted. And Risso's reported again later in the morning, again at Noss Head, just south of the lighthouse at 10:53. And half an hour later, there was a further report of 6 Rissos at Statsigo, heading south to Wiek. Minke popped up throughout the morning around Duncansby Head, and those on the John O'Groats ferry got good views. The last one was seen around 1300, far off in the distance, and in total 6 minke were reported. Harbour porpoise didn't disappoint though, with 6 sightings during the morning, the last sighting being a group of 2 at 12:45 west of Duncansby Head and then at Sanic Beach. Things then went a little quiet until the report of Orca at the Skerries Bistro, heading west towards Berwick around 16:30, but so far we've heard no more. We look forward to following this up tomorrow.
So yes, we look forward to more great sightings tomorrow. And as it's been such a fine day, we decided to go and look at some of our watch sites and some of our watch observers. So let's just have a look at a few photos, see if you can recognise any of the places that they're at. So did you recognise some of those places? The more observant of us amongst you will have noticed that we had a sign saying Duncansby, so it was a bit of a giveaway on one of them. But the sites were at Duncansby Head, Duncansby Stacks, Gills Bay, and also Dunnet Head, which is a beautiful location as well to go to. So if you haven't been to any of those, please go and you'll find our observers there. And it was beautiful weather today. Unfortunately, it's not always like that, and our observers have coped with some very harsh conditions this week, so our thanks to them. But if you'd like to join them next year at Orca Watch 2023, then you can come into the base and you can sign up with us, or alternatively, you can email us at orcawatch@seawatchfoundation.org.uk, and you can come and join us and enjoy this wonderful time and wonderful weather. So let's thinking about the weather still, looking ahead for the rest of the week. It's not going to be the Costa Brava, but it is warming up and it is getting better and more settled. So hopefully calm seas, so we'll be able to easily sight all those orcas as they come past.
And that's all from us today. Tomorrow we hope to be able to connect with Karen Hall and Robin Petch, our Sea-Watch ambassador from Shetland. But a lot depends on the internet connectivity, so I'm afraid, as with orca sightings, there are certainly no guarantees. Meanwhile, it's not too late to join Omri for their Zoom talk, Orca Watch on Orkney. Tickets are available through Eventbrite. Just search for Orca Watch on Orkney. The talk starts at 7:30. We hope you're enjoying Orca Watch. Please let us know if you have any sightings. We're going to leave you with a video of the birds at Duncansby. But for now, good night from John and Groats.
Good night.